All right, everybody, what's up? What's up? We are back here at Hack Attack. We have got a really cool showcase coming up for you. We've got Glackum playing some Rayman Kaizo levels that he designed, and I've got a little bit of a fun fact for you. Actually, two fun facts. First of all, we got $24 donation from Troherg, $1 per minute of the Legends of Mario run. Thanks for the amazing race, Super Ben and RB Pimlico. Thank you for the donation, and $10 from Third Wall GG Space Glam on reading the message box in Akagari. Really appreciate the Third Wall's coming through with his promise here. And an additional fun fact, did you know that if you record Hack Attack on a black yak back, you could sample the laugh track, cut it some slack, and mix it with My Sharona by the Knack and put it in your backpack? Just something to think about. Anyhow, I'm going to turn it over to Glackum now, and you can get started with your Rayman Kaizos.
Well, hello there. Thank you, Glitch. Welcome, everybody, to my wonderful showcase of a couple levels in Rayman Designer, as Glitch has said. So I will just get right into it. First, I got a couple easy ones, then I got some grueling ones to show you all. So I will count it down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So the first famous no. Please. All right, so first we got a little bit of an easy one I got for y'all. It's called Plum Playground. Whoops, you didn't see that one. Plum Playground. It's got some neat little tech I made sure to throw in there, but it's all in a rather safe environment for the most part. So the first thing I have are 2 plums, and I will use them to do a double plum jump. Because that's what we use plums for. A little bit shaped like an eggplant, but we don't pay attention to that part. So I have to make sure that I'm in this this rolling speed state here, because that will make it so that I clip back onto the plum really easily. But I need to make sure to get way up there.
Could you tell us real quickly a little bit that you made these, right? You designed these levels and you used, Rayman Designer is the program for that? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
So this program was actually made by Ubisoft themselves in 1997. This is a level editor that you yourself can play at any point if you wanted to do so. There's no gray line here. It's just made by Ubisoft themselves. You can do quite a few things with them, but actually, people have found ways to hack the game so that it adds a couple more perilous traps, because, you know, we love those perilous traps and all. It's like how people add in, instant death blocks, because that's cool. So what I'm trying to do now is bring this plum all the way over to the left here so that I can run along it. So I set myself up in a certain spot, run for it, and then jump when it already bounces. Because there's 2 heights. There's me being on the block so it goes low, and then there's me not being on the plum so it goes high. And I want it to generally go high, but not always.
And this is Kaizo in the sense that the tricks that you're doing and the way that you're doing them, that is the only way to get through this stage, correct?
Yeah, they are not intended to be done any other way. These are not tricks that were designed by Ubisoft or anyone in between. These are all stuff I made up to make sure that y'all know the funny ways to mess around with plums. And I don't expect anyone to do it any other way. I gotta get to this vine up there. Just gotta get to the vine, but it has to hit that little block on the left, the little ledge. But I can't punch it too many times or it goes way too far. Way too far.
So this trick is, do you ever use this trick in the actual speedrun?
No, that's the thing, right? Because the original game doesn't have these kinds of setups. A lot of the stuff that you can do in Designer, you don't do in the speedrun, because they're just not set up that way. So I actually find Rayman Designer to be a very neat outlet to do smart stuff that you would never see in the speedrun. Like this, you'd never have a small fairy on top of a plum here. So I actually can use this small Rayman because I have such a small, generally Rayman shoots from shoulder length, his fist. But when I'm small, it's just like his whole body, and then it's a giant fist. So you can actually just constantly punch the Plum over and over and over while riding along it, and I find
that allows
really
you to
cool.
propel it forward and keep moving on it.
Yes, exactly. And that will be used in a later level that I made, a little bit more rudely, because I love rude setups.
Can you arrange these levels into a whole game? Like, could you put out like Glackum, Kaizo, Rayman World?
I mean, I could. They're all files that I can share, but this is not a ROM hack. This is just a level editor. Unfortunately, there is a PlayStation ROM editor. It's not. It's very crude. It doesn't work 100% properly, and the sprites in the game, you can't really move them along much, and you can't delete or add them. So, you could like delete and edit tiles and their properties, though. There actually are a couple vanilla ROM hacks of the original Rayman game. There's one where all the tiles are slippery instead of just ground tiles. I love that one. And there's another one that makes all the levels dark. Normally in Rayman, that means that your fist is a lantern, and you punch the fist out to see forward. And it's very, very crazy. And then there's another one called All Things Hurt that isn't completable. You can get to like Allegro Presto, but you can't beat the slippery tower. I'm just barely missing this ledge.
Yeah, so you're trying to propel the Plum kind of downward with multiple hits so it'll bounce high and you can get a jump off it?
Correct. Eventually it meets like a certain limit to how far to the right it can go. So I only need to punch it a couple times, like maybe 4 or 5 times, but in the span of how long it takes to like actually hit it, like it's constantly punching it. Like I'm standing on top of it or inside of it.
Yeah, and that's kind of a hitbox manipulation, right? Because you're punching from inside of it so you can register those multiple hits while it's moving.
Yeah, and that only works while I'm in like the run state, like where I'm rolling right here. That's the best time you can like just like punch over and over, because there's no animation to stop you from punching over and over again. So this, I have you go up a slope, but the slope is mean sometimes and it gets clipped inside. But I need to have like some sort of momentum before I try to punch it up, because if I just try to punch it up normally, it's not gonna go up, see? So I need to make sure to like super punch it a lot before I go up the hill. Just got to make sure to not punch it too many times, I guess. It's kind of hard. And while also making sure to punch it on the way down so that it doesn't bounce up before I can land on it. I think it's not despawn. There you go. But
and that'll just keep respawning in that position.
Yeah, it's just going to keep respawning. Like, the plum on the bottom kind of like gives you an idea of what you're supposed to do. There's a couple sprites in this game that... Oh, there we go. That you can, like, either have it bounce automatically or not respawn or not bounce at all. Alright, so now we're going to move on to Caves of Climb. This one is more ring tricks. Ring tricks are insanely cool in this game. But the idea of this one was to just show off what it means to hold, jump, and punch at the same time in the context of Rayman. So I can hold, jump, and punch. I'm just holding 2 buttons right now, and it brings me all the way up here. And the thing with letting go of rings in this game is it gives you back your helicopter. Normally, you only have 1 helicopter. You got your 1 helicopter, and then you're dead, and then you're falling. But whenever you let go of a ring, you get your helicopter back. When you're close to a ring, when you're holding the jump button, which is also the hover button, you also cancel out of holding the ring automatically. So it's like you're constantly, and you get a small boost from it. So it's like you're constantly, oh, I died, constantly letting go of the ring and getting a little bit of height every time. So it looks like you're climbing the ring.
Does this strat ever get used in the real speedrun, or there's no situation where there's this many rings together?
There's no situation where it looks like this, but the concept is used constantly whenever there's rings, which admittedly isn't every level in the game. You get this power up in the 4th level of the game, but you don't get hover in the 4th. You get hover like in the 6th level of the game. So you don't necessarily, it's not like set up this way in this manner, but you definitely use it in a lot of situations to running along rings, and you'll see it a little bit more in depth in the level coming up after this that I have, which is much harder than this.
That's really cool because it makes me think a lot of how this is really, really similar to Super Mario World Kaizo in that, like, you can take things that never really existed that way in the vanilla game, and you can use the strats that you would use for the speedrun just, like, to an extreme with Kaizo levels like that. You know, a lot of the old Mario World hacks were also built out of speedrunning tricks.
Right, yeah. This is the idea was to bring all the knowledge I understand about the game and bring it to the Rayman designer.
Yeah, totally.
From speedrunning the game so much. So this part's a little less Kaizo-y. I wanted to mess around with rings in such a way that you had to like fight enemies while on rings. As you can see, I have to hit this eyeball, this angry eyeball that shoots lightning at me.
Do you need
and
to
it's
kill
kind
it
of
to
scary.
progress?
I can kind of damage boost through it if I was so inclined. Like, you can like damage boost through it and punch that, because there's a little like, I messed up here. There's a little sparkle there that you punch to spawn some stuff. Rayman generally has you doing walking in spots. I don't know what happened there. I just didn't hit the ring. But it has you walking in spots that you wouldn't normally think to walk in. And then it just spawns something, just randomly in front of you. So actually, this enemy here, that little stone man, is invincible whenever he's throwing something out. So you can't hit it. You have to wait time between his jumps. But one thing to note about him is that he walks back if you punch him from far away, and walks forward if you punch him very close up. So I could just walk him off the ledge there instead of actually just traditionally doing it.
You know, I've seen you do a lot of Rayman runs and stuff, and I'm always just so impressed at the complexity that is inherent in this game. I mean, there is a lot of stuff to know and a lot of tech, and you just have mastered all of it. It's very cool.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's like you can do all these things, and you don't have when you're just doing the speedrun, there's just not a creative outlet to exactly do all of the stuff you know, because there's a lot that you can do that you don't do in the speedrun.
Yeah, I always thought about that too. You know, that's the value of some of these Kaizo games and Kaizo level makes, is that like when you're doing the speedrun, you're actually only using 1/10 of your power. You know, exactly. And you can get it into Kaizo situations and just really crank it up to 10.
I just accidentally went into a level that I didn't need to go into. That's fine. It doesn't make a difference. I'm now going to go to my first, like, truly mean Kaizo level I made, which was called Cruel Rayman. So this is the first time I'm going to start using my lives cheat code, because I worry about this level, and you only start with 5. Actually, like, putting in lives in this game is hard. If you put in a lot of them, you'll only get to like 99, and also it might crash the game, so I'd just prefer people to use the live cheat instead.
It crashes the game if you have too many lives. Like, whoa, hey, you're cheating way too much here. We're gonna have to close down.
Exactly. So I have to time this ring without this swinging ball hitting me. And it's easier said than done. While also getting the distance to get that ring. So you can see you can punch it from very far away. And you can overhead shoot these rings to get lots of height going upwards.
Yeah, that was one thing I remember you telling me about the rings when we were doing the original Rayman, is that like there's a lot of, you're not just grabbing and swinging on it, there's a ton of articulation that you have to do to get the right momentum and the right speed and stuff.
Oh wait, I forgot. Well, never mind. So one thing to notice about one thing to notice about the you might have saw I was punching that rock, that swinging rock there, which I love the swinging rocks, by the way. You punch it, hover, and then immediately go back to punching it again. Because if you punch after hovering, you're gonna lose your hover. So you have to make sure to punch it first, hover, then immediately punch again, or you're gonna be too low. And yeah, that was a Kaizo block, I'm sorry.
It's not just Mario.
Yeah, no, I wanted to make a Gendor where you just get screwed over. That was it.
Kaizo, block out of nowhere.
All right, so you see here that the ring goes upwards and you climb it pretty much at the exact same speed. Actually, like I said earlier, when you get your hover back, it's really interesting. So I actually drop these 2 falling rings downwards, right? And I let them drop, and I use them to regain my hover in a good spot. That is very fortuitous to me. And I will do that right now. Hover. I punch. There's a little like Gendor there that you have to punch. It's like a punchable Gendor. It doesn't work just standing on it.
Which one is the Gendor?
Gendors just spawn stuff. Killdors kill stuff. But it's kind of hard to it's hard to explain because most of them are invisible. Yeah.
Oh, I get you.
But there's a little sparkle you see on the top left here. Yeah, no matter how many times I play this,
you made these whole levels like with all the aesthetics and you can pick the backgrounds and everything.
Yeah, some of the graphics are custom. I didn't make them, but they are custom. But most of this is not custom. Like the little pillars that you'll see coming up at the bottom are custom.
So just like old school Kaizo, this is more or less built out. Like, I mean, old school Kaizo, but like, yeah, like old school Kaizo ROM hacks. Like this is essentially built out of the vanilla game.
Oh
There's
yeah,
a little bit of custom stuff, but mostly this is just the vanilla game rearranged.
The absolute least custom thing in this is that fact that these red spike balls kill you instantly instead of not instantly, I guess. Everything else
in the normal game, do they just do damage?
Yeah, they just do damage. Like that blue spike there just does damage.
Yeah.
That's a vanilla item, but there's no swinging variant in red, so I just use the blue one.
Am I interpreting your HUD correctly? The three little dots, that's your health, right?
Yes, the 3 dots are my health.
Yeah, so by default in Rayman, because most Mario World Kaizo just has a one-hit kill for everything, but by default in Rayman, you actually have 3 points of damage.
Correct. Generally knocks you back. Actually, I want to tell something interesting about the end signs in this game. As you can see here, that end sign just killed me. It has, similar to SMB1 flagpole, gravity in some form. So to actually avoid it, because you can't like actually end the level if it's just in the air. If you have to be standing on the ground to end it, also that was a nice little stone block that spawns inside the rock that instantly kills you. You have to jump over it. But so to combat the end sign, you have to hover through it instead of running through it. Cause it makes it real weird. So here I hover through it. So I have to punch these balloons in a very specific order. I have to punch the first 2 before I land on either one of them, because once you land on it, you die. I mean, it disappears.
When you punch them, they inflate, and then you can stand on it, right?
Yes. They disappear eventually on their own, but generally, the second you jump off of them, they'll deflate again. So actually, I made a little bit of a map 16 like edit here. This is the bone part. So here's the end sign to the right here. Oh man, I love it. I'm ending the level. Well, not really. You can just kind of die.
I love how many
drowning
analogs of Mario World Kaizo can be here. You know, you got the Kaizo blocks, you got post gold death. Like it's the same thing. We got it all.
Yeah. I mean, I tried to make this part like easier but trolly, because there's not really much trolly stuff that isn't like inherently just normal. Normal being weird Rayman, like Gendors and Killdors and stuff. But here we have the last part of Cruel Rayman here. This is where I wanted to show you like weird, like you can hold jump and punch there while holding up, which is a speed lock, and it just runs you through that ring.
Yo, real quick, we got a $1.01 donation from the Space Police, who says, "Please return Space Glam to us." What did you do, Space Glam?
That's okay, Kevin. So actually, like I have a classic case of Gendor Killdor actually right here, where I despawn something to immediately spawn something ruder. So this like little ring here, that's a little bit lower than the others, just kind of turns into an instant kill spike if you don't like just go underneath it.
Oh man.
And you have to make sure to wait until the very end of that ring to like start holding jump and punch to get to those ceiling rings. Because if you do it too early, you'll bonk the ceiling, be too low to get the second punch off of it. So you have to wait a while. It's very nuanced. Alright, so then I let go of punch while keeping holding up there because otherwise I'll hit the ceiling, and then I die. Dang it, that's the end. No! Wait a little late. Go underneath. Speed lock. Punch. Hover. Hit the end door that spawns that. Because normally that red thing, you can't actually move it, but I made it look exactly like a swinging one to make people think, oh, maybe you can swing off of it. You can punch it and it'll swing, but you can't, and then die if you do it wrong.
So if people wanted to play these levels or try them out for themselves, how would they get them? Do they have to DM you for them, or
they'd have to DM me, or I have it on YouTube. I don't know if they're the exact same updated ones, but they are on my YouTube channel where I do them, and in my Discord. But if you DM me, I can give it to you. All right, so the last level I have of my own, if I actually have time, I actually have the original first Kaizo speedrun tech-made level. So here we have Rayman's Deadly Plums. This is the latest Kaizo level I made.
You actually have plenty of time, my friend, so we are really enjoying this. Please feel free to just continue on.
Yes. I'm really hoping I have time for the bonus level. So as you can see here, you can like punch the plum from overhead because there's a spiky fruit that stops you from punching it straight. You can punch it, it'll swing back, makes the plum swing, and then punch this one overhead, hover underneath it, and it'll just clip you onto it, which is a really neat application of plums. That you can just stand underneath them. And that will be.
I've had a chance to see you do a lot of Rayman stuff, and I'm just always so impressed by the bottomless pit of tech that this game actually is. There is just so much going on, not only with just the environment, but with the movement and all the sort of like punch tech and hover tech and all that stuff. Like, there is a ton going on here.
Yeah, it's actually like, because of its vanilla, it's actually so hard, similar to like Super Mario World, to like de-cheese these levels because there's so much you can do with just base Rayman. Especially with rings, people tend to a lot of the speedruns tend to do weird stuff that I wouldn't expect as a creator for them to do.
Are there any really dangerous things to put in your levels? Like in Super Mario World, it's really dangerous to give them a Yoshi or a cape or something. Like, is there anything that, like, if you put this element in, you have to be really careful because they could cheese real hard with it?
Rings, just period. It's not at the level of Mario World. There's no dupes. There might be some zips, but they're very specific clips.
You taught me that one clip, and I got it.
Yeah, no. They didn't put. Okay, so they have one solid block, which makes it infinitely harder than other slippery clips. All right, actually, I want to show this off. So, as I told you before, these things like push you down, so they almost act like ceilings there.
Wait, which thing? The rings or the little signs?
The end signs. Yeah, the end signs.
So they're like solid on the bottom, and they move you off them.
Yeah, they kind of just drag you down, basically. So actually, but while I'm on the ring, it's not going to stop me from doing anything. They're just sprites. So I can wait until the very tip of my jump, hit this ring if I'm time it right. Let go, get a really good tether off of it. Punch that ring again while holding jump so that I get a little boost in height so I can hit that plum and then speed lock off of the ring. It's a very involved, really neat trick that I made up. Yikes. I really like it.
Yeah, this is really fantastic. All of these tricks just have so many elements and so much complexity, and I'm loving this.
Let's try it again. Punch. Oh.
And you have to actually touch the sign for it to register that you beat the level, correct?
Yeah, you have to touch the sign while standing on the ground.
Oh, so in that case, you're just using the signs like obstacles.
Yeah, they're currently just obstacles.
Okay, so it's kind of like avoiding an orb, where if you touch it, you can't actually win the level by touching it. That's cool.
Actually, I came to the conclusion of using these end signs as D-cheese, because before, I had a D-cheese option to use these deadly spike balls. but they didn't really, they made it infinitely harder to set up than it currently is. Because now you just have to wait until you're very far inside of the end signs to actually do it. But before, you had to like hold left and avoid getting hit by the red spikes, and it was a lot harder.
Well, speaking of the red spikes, we've got some really good advice here from Meek Rhino with a $10 donation that says, "Try not to touch the spikes."
All right, I'll do that right now. I'm currently inside of them, but they're not touching me. It's okay. So this one, I actually was like this is the part where I'm like, okay, people aren't going to beat this level anymore. This part right here. You have to. I make you punch a plum multiple times down. Left, right, left, right. So I punch this, it hits a wall, it goes to the right. I make you touch that flag, which kill doors some red spikes down there. And then I'm gonna make you, I force the player to run off the plum and then punch it to the right again while it's going downwards, which is very inconsistent and difficult, but I really wanted to just do it. I just wanted to do it, right? So that's how it is.
Yo, I like that. I like your style.
Oh, and then I make you punch. Like I spawn that plum to make you punch it underneath, and it's really hard to time.
You know, this makes me excuse me. This makes me think of Yoshi's Island tech, where you're like hovering and using your tongue. It's like here you're like hovering and punching and doing it all kind of midair. There's like two different things to manage in any given jump.
Oh yeah. There's a lot to consider. Like you have to make sure you're running off of it. You have to make sure you don't jump off it. You have to make sure that you run off it while it's already when it already hit the ground, because otherwise it bounces up real high. You have to make sure you only punch it a certain number of times. Run off that lily pad at a certain point. You have to make sure it doesn't go on those red spikes, because I put drowning water there so that it hits the ground. So that's de-cheese. Because otherwise you could let it look funny, and also if I didn't put anything there, it'd just fall through and it'd be a lot easier, and it wouldn't be the tech I wanted the player to do. Because yeah, you saw it just hits the red spikes there, and I just put drowning tiles there.
What type of water isn't drowning water? Solid water, ice. Trick question.
I think the answer is if you're falling through in this sprite in this game, and there's no solid tile below the water, you can make a falling sprite. You can just stand on the falling sprite and fall through the water without dying. So it's
I was wondering, is there any way to just clip through floors vertically?
Oh, there's zips. Not really clipping downwards through them beyond what I've already showed you. You can't really clip upwards unless it's a semi-solid. Hopefully I can get this one soon. That jump punch at the end that you saw me miss with the ring is the last obstacle. I have to make sure I have to be on the left side of this plum when I land, because otherwise, there's no how do I say this? There's no slopes that hurt you in this game inherently. There's slippery slopes, and then there's solid normal slopes, but there's no hurt slopes. So I had to put spikes there, and they're not very nice. There was no way to make sure that you were inherently safe on the whole part of the plum.
Yeah, it looks like you have a little bit of mobility while you walk around. Is that ever useful? Like you can take a step to the left or the right, and you can still manage to stand on that plum. Do you have to ever use that sometimes? And kind of almost like I'm just thinking of Mario, like riding on a mole. You know how you can kind of walk left and right.
Yeah, you can walk left and right on this. It's a lot more durable than a mole is. The moles are not very durable.
Yo, the shade on the moles though, probably deserved.
Yeah. No, dude, the plums in this game are hecking invincible. There's nothing stopping this thing from doing literally whatever it wants. It never dies. It could fall into the pit and then it'll die, I guess. It's kind of like Yoshi. But other than that, you can't kill it. It's just there, and it does cool things.
Yeah, I really like the challenge of having to like punch it to move it, and then like keep doing that to guide it around while you're in midair.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's really hard. No matter how many times I play this level, it's still hard. It's hard. The thing about it is that plums are very hard to make do the exact same thing every time, because they're so nuanced. There's
How
just
does
so much to take care of.
Where does the nuance come from? Like where you punch the plum, like a high punch or a low punch? Does that determine it, or
that determines some part of it? Like I said, also being on top of it determines how it acts, where it gets hit, at what stage of the falling or going up animation it's in. So
that actually matters. Wow.
Yeah,
that's really
all
subtle.
All of it matters. So you have to make sure to, because no matter what, if you're not doing the exact same thing, it's going to be in a different spot every time.
Wow. Yeah, that's really demanding for consistency. It's really impressive.
Yeah. So I tried my best to make a setup at least at the beginning that expects the player to that intends for the plum to mostly be in a spot where it's useful. I mean, it's consistent enough for you to like run off that lily pad.
Yeah, those lily pads, they like move out of your way. They're like almost like falling platforms, right?
Yes. I made sure the lily pad disappeared so that you could fall off of it immediately, because then you're falling downwards, and that way you'll line yourself up with the plum better. So like this plum will always spawn in the same spot every time. You always punch it at the same point mostly, and then you always and it should ideally always start going to the right in the same spot. That much I tried my best to make sure it was consistent, but it's still hard, and I'm still dying a bunch of times to it.
So are there a lot of these levels, these kind of Kaizo style levels out there, or
No.
No? Well,
No.
there's. Oh.
It's just me.
Well, that's awesome. That means you're the only one. That means you are literally the best Rayman Kaizo player on Earth right now. Guys, we have the literal world champion here. No, this is amazing stuff, dude. I always just am really impressed with the amount of technical nuance in this game. There's so much going on.
Alright, I did it.
Hey!
Hey.
Nice jump. That was really cool.
Alright, I don't know how much time we have left.
You're fine. If you
Alright,
got another
cool.
one to show off,
I
you
got
should
one
do it.
more.
Definitely.
This is the one true original Kaizo level that anyone ever made. It was by Absolution. You might know her for doing some tech demos on YouTube of Rayman Revenge of the Dark. It was like supposedly this is the wrong level. Supposedly a Rayman 2 hack or their own game. And she also made a level using speedrun tech as early as 2015, early January 2015, where you utilize speed locking. This is a little more rudimentary than what you saw me do, a little slower paced. But this is the first time anyone ever did anything with speed tech on Rayman Designer. So this is early. Like I made the levels I showed off like last year. This was made over 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago. This level in particular. And it's just there's no hovering, there's no running. It's just speed locks with rings. But it's still hard. It's still difficult to do. There's a little bit of nuance that you didn't get to see me do with my other levels that you'll see me do here. So this it's gonna ask me right now to hit this ring and then like get over to that little brown thing over there. So all my levels ask me to just get from point A to point B. But Ad Solutions level asks me to get items. Normally in Rayman Designer, these colored things are required. The blue tings literally spawn ensigns, which is why I generally don't put them in my levels, because otherwise they don't exist. So I have to hit that green thing, and I have to get all of this brown ting set, and then it will destroy an obstacle that I need. Now, I'm gonna actually die here because it is slightly faster. It brings me all the way back to the checkpoint. I'm also gonna put in the lives before I die.
It saves the things you've collected after you die, correct?
Yes, it does. All the things in Rayman Designer do not respawn. They do not respawn, which isn't my favorite part of Rayman Designer, which is why generally all of my levels don't have them just as trails. But if possible, I prefer to use them not as trails because they never respawn. You wouldn't be able to see them ever again to see what you're doing.
Imagine playing a Kaizo Mario level and you need the indicator coins, and then the first time you die, all the coins that you grabbed are just not there.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That would actually be a
real
hilarious
good answer.
Oh man, I just got a great idea for a troll level now.
Oh boy.
Coins don't respawn when you die.
So mean.
AD4.
All right, so here's an interesting part of rings in this game. So rings going up have much better propensity to make you go upwards naturally, but rings going down tend to really not give you any good height at all. So I want this ring to be going upwards and getting a really far tether by punching overhead and then going to the left to get my furthest tether I could possibly get.
Oh yeah, I see how that was like way overextended that time.
Yeah, because you get like a ton of height from doing it, but the rings themselves are also very nuanced obstacles and maybe even have some oscillation to them, which makes them hard to keep consistent. But how far away from something I am, how far down I am from it, all matter a lot to getting specific things, specific movements here. And also when I let go of the ring also is very important. They're all very important. So doing rings good in this game is really difficult. And it's really fun. Make sure to get this checkpoint just in case. And then the last part. So jumping off of rings, jumping off of slippery slopes isn't even consistent. You could jump in the same spot and I don't think you'll get it the same height every time, because you can hold down jump and it won't give you the same distance. But this part here asks me to hold the up button, which locks my speed correctly, and it asks me to get all these blue tings in the exact specific movement while avoiding all these pencils, and it's really hard. And I just got hit by a pencil above me. So I never expect to finish that part first try.
Rude pencils.
Rude pencils, yeah. There we go, and that's the end. Time.
Cool. Nice job. Very, very nice job. Hey, real quick, we've got Undead Blackbird with $11.99. One day only, don't miss it. We've got a sale on memes here. Act now to get your memes. Only $11.99. Don't delay. These memes are going fast.
Man, the memes, dude. The memes. You got to make sure to get all your memes in and make sure to donate to this marathon. We are making sure to bring it all over to Direct Relief. They are bringing medical medicine to people who need medical medicine all around the world. $1 is equal to $45 worth of medical medicine. Is that correct?
49.
49. That's really crazy. I don't know how the heck they did that. That's really cool. I'm not going to lie.
Well, thanks so much, Glackum, for showing off some awesome Rayman levels. You should let people know if you have any shout-outs or anything, and let people know where to find you on Twitch.
Shout-outs to Ad Solution for making the first level ever with Speedrun Tech. Shout-outs to GlitchCat for keeping me occupied. I had nobody to help me out with this. It's really hard when you're the only one who ever does this stuff.
Hashtag adopt a cat.
And I couldn't ask the speedrun. They're all sleeping right now, basically. So it's really hard. Yeah, shout out to the European Rayman community. They're the bulk of the Rayman community. I'm like one of like a couple people in America who does Rayman 1. Like there's Spike who does it every now and then for commentary, and then there's me, and then there's Agent, and that's it. Everyone else is in Europe, which I'm really excited to go to ESA for, doing the 2-player 1 controller. Ooh.
Yeah, which Rayman is that going to be? That's going to be at the upcoming ESA, right?
Yes, the ESA winner, I have Rayman 1 2-player 1 controller with the world record holder Thextera.
That's awesome, dude. Good luck. I've always wanted to go to ESA. I'll be watching from home. That's awesome.
Dude, I've never gone to Europe. It's super exciting.
Yeah, that sounds great, dude. Have fun.
And then, yeah, shout outs to Hack Attack for having me, of course. Shout outs to Lee for just being an amazing charity. And thanks everyone for watching.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
Shout outs to you, Glackum. Thank you so much for showing off those levels. We are going to take a short break. We are actually, with that extra cool level that Glackum showed us, we are... Excuse me. I got a frog in my throat here. It's probably that Zuma frog. We are right back on schedule, so we're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back with Super Metroid Ancient Chozo, a run from Strizer. This is really, really cool, so stick it here.